Hey everyone, this is Mike from late 2018 talking to you, but after I run the intro, it's going to be Mike from early 2018, which, as it turns out, is a little different. I don't know, it's probably not as noticeable to you as it is to me, but I felt the need to say something about it. Soon after last Christmas, I had the idea for Hostess Holidays on the channel, where I make this video and the last one. I figured I'd make it then and wait to release it, so don't be too harsh on this video. In fact, don't be too harsh on any video. No need to be harsh. I stand by all the information and everything I say. Nothing's out of date, just here's the video.
Really, seriously, you're not asking me about Hostess Twinkies, are you?
Twinkies are probably one of the most well-known products ever created. But on the off chance you're not familiar, if you ask Google, it says it's a small finger-shaped sponge cake with a white synthetic cream filling. And I'd say that's pretty spot on. Honestly, I don't understand the appeal. I'm sure you know this already, but Twinkies aren't that healthy. In fact, they appear to be much unhealthier than I even originally thought. I went to the store and I took a photo of the box. Looks like a serving size is 2 of them, and within that we're looking at 260 calories, 3.5 grams of saturated fat, 43 grams of carbs, and 29 grams of sugar. That's not good. Looks like it has some protein, calcium, and iron, but correct me if I'm wrong, it contains basically nothing nutritious, and the list of ingredients is a little frightening. I knew it would be, but this is a long list. I would consult with a chemist before attempting to pronounce most of them. But let me know, is there anyone out there who would identify disodium phosphate as their favorite food? Really, that's the joke, right? They have so many chemicals in them that they last forever. Personally, I'd sooner go to the bakery section of the supermarket and get some freshly baked donuts or muffins at a similar price. They sell them at the same place I picked up this box of Twinkies. And when I say I picked it up, I literally picked it up, took a photo, and put it back. I didn't buy it. But in the same building, they sold fresh donuts for 75 cents and muffins for $1.50. The box of Twinkies was on sale for $3.49. So people aren't buying Twinkies for the price. It's not for the freshness, and it's certainly not for health reasons. As far as I can deduce, it's for the taste. Which I don't understand either. It tastes a little off to me, but there's millions of people out there that love it. And I will admit, it's a unique taste. There's no mistaking a Twinkie. They've managed to create something that people love so much they're willing to pass up fresh, likely healthier stuff for it. And that's not easy to do. One would think there'd be a taste trade-off in order to preserve it and allow it to sit on the shelf for days or even weeks. But they've overcome the trade-off and were able to mix all these ingredients together into something that appeals to millions of people, and as exemplified by me, is known by many more. Whether you love them or hate them, you can't deny their cultural impact. So let's take a closer look at this popular little sponge cake. Twinkies go way back, all the way back to the 1930s. The story goes that the bakery made strawberry shortcakes, but the machines were shut down when strawberries weren't in season. So this guy, James Alexander Dewar, had the idea of using the machines to fill the cakes with cream. The filling at the time was actually a banana filling. Today it's vanilla flavored. The change occurred during World War II when bananas were hard to come by. The vanilla flavor was such a big hit, they never looked back. In recent years, they did bring back the banana filling as a side offering. They even had it at the store I visited. In addition to one they call the Chocodile, which is covered in fudge frosting. But if you're on a diet, I recommend you stick with the original. In the 1950s, the Twinkie shot up in popularity when it was advertised heavily on the Howdy Doody show. And then in 1971, they debuted their mascot, the Twinkie Kid. It's basically a Twinkie in cowboy gear. He's pretty cute. I'd say it was a good marketing idea. It gave the product a face, and he fit in nicely with the product's image. He's withstood the test of time too. There was a brief time almost 30 years ago where he wasn't used, but other than that, he's been going strong. Many do already, but I recommend an adorable little mascot for any company where it would fit in with the overall image. Maybe a little Cheez-It astronaut with a square helmet? Just an idea. I want to jump to the late 1970s now and talk about something known as the Twinkie Defense. This is commonly misunderstood. In 1978, San Francisco Mayor Greg Moscone and Supervisor Harvey Milk were assassinated by a person named Dan White. That's all fact. Now, the common misconception is that during the trial, White's defense was that he ate a bunch of Twinkies before the murder and was on a sugar high when the crime took place. He couldn't be held accountable for his actions because the Twinkies made him do it. This version doesn't give the legal system too much credit and is pretty far from the truth. In reality, the defense was that this man was depressed, to a point where his mental capacity was diminished. The Twinkies were just a small detail used in proving the depression. To prove he was depressed, they stated how he quit his job, his overall appearance became disheveled, and he switched from eating healthy foods to foods such as Twinkies. It's all intended to build the case that he was depressed, and therefore had diminished capacity, and therefore couldn't premeditate the crime, and therefore it couldn't be a murder. The defense worked, and Dan White was only convicted of involuntary manslaughter. When you clicked on this video about Twinkies, I bet you never expected to hear the term involuntary manslaughter. Let me make the mood even heavier for a second before going back to the lighthearted Twinkie stuff. Dan White served only 5 years for his crimes, but committed suicide not long after his release. This was a high-profile case at the time, and to this day is well remembered in the legal community. And though it's not the ideal publicity for Twinkies, I think it helped the brand. I could picture a legal student reading up on this case and craving a Twinkie the entire time. When you think about it, there's a means of marketing that most products can't take advantage of. Alright, back to the fun stuff. And what's more fun than a Twinkie Wiener sandwich? A memorable part of Weird Al's movie UHF.
Look what I got here, Bob. A Twinkie Wiener sandwich.
It was also used in another movie you may have heard of, to represent the normal amount of psychokinetic energy in the New York area.
Well, let's say this Twinkie represents the normal amount of psychokinetic energy in the New York area.
And it was a pretty funny subplot in Zombieland.
Well, this Twinkie thing, it ain't over yet.
The man loves his Twinkies. In all these cases, the Twinkie wasn't just being eaten casually or mentioned quickly, it was the focus of the scene. Appearing in all these movies is perfect proof of the Twinkie's cultural impact, but what may be the ultimate proof came in 1999. In this year, the White House did something pretty cool. They put together what they call the National Millennium Time Capsule. The idea was to put together a bunch of items that represent America at the time, throw them in a capsule, and leave it till the year 2100. At that time, the future people open it and are able to see what we thought most represented our country at this time. It was a neat thing for the White House to do. And one of the things included in this time capsule was a Twinkie. I'm sure you saw that coming because this whole time capsule segment of the video would be extremely out of place otherwise. In full disclosure, it was taken out with the fear that it would attract mice, but the impressive part is that it was ever included in the first place. Just look at some of the things it was placed with. Ray Charles's sunglasses, the Bill of Rights, a piece of the Berlin Wall, a photo of Rosa Parks. The fact that the Twinkie made it in with this group of items is just mind-blowing. This is about the highest level a snack cake can ever hope to achieve. I think I've proven the cultural impact and popularity of the Twinkie by this point. The only other thing I could possibly do is take them away from the public completely and show you how much the world is affected. I was about to set forth my plan to make this happen, but luckily it already happened in November of 2012. I'm being silly now, but this did happen, and I'm guessing many of you remember it.
After the company announced Friday it was shutting down, distraught fans went into a Twinkie tailspin, emptying store shelves.
Hostess went bankrupt and stopped producing their famous treats. Ho-Ho's gone, Ding Dong's gone, Snowball's gone, but oddly enough Suzy Q's, I'm just kidding, they were gone too, it was all gone. Here's a basic economics lesson. When the supply goes down, the price goes up. If you possessed a box of Twinkies, you might as well have possessed a box of gold. Everyone was upset, it was the biggest news story in the country, and the public didn't respond well. I don't think it was even because we all love Twinkies. I think we just love the idea of having Twinkies around. Like I said, I don't like them and I never buy them, but I was a little shaken when they went away. For most of us, they've been around our entire life. They're just one of those things we've come to rely on. It shows how much most of us hate change. It didn't affect my life in any way, but just the fact that they weren't there in the shelves when I walked past the section was something that made me uncomfortable. Let me know if anyone else felt this way. I mean, I wasn't curled up in the corner crying over it, but it made me feel a little bit sad. Luckily, they were only gone for a few months. They made a huge return in July of the following year.
They are back. Hostess cupcakes, donuts, and Twinkies.
The sweetest comeback in the history of ever. Based on the public's response and the 29 grams of sugar, I can't argue with it. Twinkies are back on the shelves, and you're all free to buy as many as you want. You can go get the Ho-Ho's, Ding Dongs, Snowballs, but oddly enough, the Suzy Q's, alright, you can get those too. Or if you're like me, you're still not buying them, but you could take some weird comfort in just knowing that they're there. A triumphant return, big time movie scenes, the decision to put it in that time capsule, a legal defense. What else could you possibly want from a small sponge cake? The heights that this product has achieved are just incredible. And now it's finally achieved the highest possible honor, an entire Company Man video dedicated to it. Let me know in the comments any thoughts you have about Twinkies, and how you held up during their absence. I shared everything I have to say, so now I'd like to hear what you have to say. Thank you for watching.